Hello everyone, today we will learn about Mudharabah. So, let's explore what is Mudharabah.
Now, let's learn the definition of Mudharabah. Literally, the word Mudharabah is derived from the phrase "ad-darbu fil al-ard", which means traveling for business. It is called this because the agent or entrepreneur gets profits of his hard work and effort in performing long journey. While technically, Mudharabah is a type of partnership contract where one party provides capital and the other party provides labor and management skills, in which the agent or known as Mudharib will manage the capital provided by the Rabuma for a purpose of investment. Okay, for more knowledge, I will provide some additional information to you. Mudharabah was widely known in the classical literature as Qirat and Muqarada. It's derived from the words Qarada, which means to cut off. It is because the capital provider, which is Rabbul Mal, cut off some of his money to be utilized by the Mudharib in the business activity.
Next, I will explain to you the essential element for Mudharabah. You have to bear in mind that Mudharabah have two types: Mudharabah mutlaqah, unrestricted Mudharabah; Mudharabah muqayyadah, restricted Mudharabah. Both of these types have similar elements. The only difference is how the Mudharib utilize the funds given by the Rabumal. First, we have Rabumal. He or she is a customer that will provide capital for a purpose of investment utilized by Mudharib, usually a bank or agent. Next, we have capital. Capital provided by Rabumal must be in form of cash. Fund utilization for Mudharabah mutlaqah. Bank will utilize or invest the deposit without the restriction imposed by customer. There is no restriction on work that is to be done, the location, time and method of payment. Fund utilization for Mudharabah muqayyadah means that bank utilize the deposit within the restriction imposed by customer. Capital provider will impose restriction but not in a manner that will unduly constrain the Mudharib in his operation. Profit. Distribution of profit must be on the basis of an agreed percentage of the profit, not on the basis of a lump sum or percentage capital. Loss to be borne by the customer means only Rabumal will bear the financial loss. Mudharib will lose in terms of effort and he is not liable for financial loss unless such loss due to his misconduct. Last but not least, contract of offer and acceptance. The contract have to be signed by the customer and bank officer.
Now, we go to modus operandi of Mudharabah. Mrs. Liana paid takaful contributions which form a pool of takaful fund. The takaful fund is divided into two accounts, which is investment account, also known as saving account, and special account, also known as the risk account. The latter is based on the concept of tabarruk. The fund allocation ratio is agreed upfront between Mrs. Liana and Prudential BSN agent. The funds of both accounts are invested in Sharia-compliant assets, such as government Islamic instruments, Islamic private debt securities and equities, as well as fixed assets and Islamic fixed deposit accounts. Any profit generated from the investment is shared between Mrs. Liana and Prudential BSN based on a pre-agreed profit sharing ratio. The amount in Mrs. Liana's investment account is paid to her upon delivery or maturity of the takaful shrimp, or to the beneficiary upon her death. The amount in the Mrs. Liana's special account is used for paying her claims, retakaful contributions, reserve, and management expenses. At year-end, the surplus is distributed to Mrs. Liana. In a modified Mudharabah model, the surplus is shared between Mrs. Liana and Prudential BSN.
Based on the modus operandi, there are two contracting parties involved in the Mudharabah contract. Robulmal, which is the capital provider, is Mrs. Liana, while Prudential BSN acts as a moderate, which is the entrepreneur. The roles of Mrs. Liana is to provide 100% of capital to the Prudential BSN for investing it in a business. After that, Prudential BSN will utilize and manage the capital to generate profits for the Mudharabah investment, comply with Sharia laws. The profits for Mudharabah contract will be shared in pre-agreed ratios among Prudential BSN and Mrs. Liana. How about the loss? So, the loss are completely borne by Mrs. Liana, who is the owner of the capital. But the loss will also be borne by Prudential BSN if the loss occur because of their negligence.
Next, we're gonna talk about condition of Mudharabah. There is 3 conditions under Mudharabah, which is condition of work, condition of capital, and condition of profit. Under the condition of work, the work or business venture must be conducted solely by the entrepreneur, also known as mudarib. The project must be legal and permissible, which is it must be halal. And then, all the expenses will be taken from the capital provided. There is not more than the justified expenses required in the venture. Next, under the condition of capital, the capital must be in the form of money, means it is not commodity, since the commodity fluctuated in price, which can cause uncertainty. And then, the capital must be clearly specified, determined, and also known at the time of the contract. And then, the capital must be available cash present during the conclusion of the contract. And lastly, the capital must be delivered to the possession of the mudarib entirely. Lastly, the condition of profit. The distribution of profit must be determined proportionately between the capital provider and the entrepreneur. Next, the predetermined profit must be in the ratio form or percentage and not in the fixed amount. And lastly, it's allowed to be different ratio at a different situation. Next, we added some info about Mudharabah, which is the modern application that is used under Mudharabah, such as project financing, import or export financing, working capital financing, saving or current account, and lastly, interbank lending or borrowing.
So now, let's differentiate between Mudharabah and Musyarakah. Because both of these contracts are under partnership contract. First, form of capital. Mudharabah is in the form of cash, while Musyarakah is in the form of asset that has commercial value.
Then, in Mudharabah, the entrepreneur will be the only one that conduct the actual business, while in the Musyarakah, all the shareholders have the right to work and contribute their skills, knowledge, and also experience in the company.
Mudharabah, capital is financed by one party. Musyarakah, capital is financed by all the shareholders. Monetary loss for Mudharabah, it will be solely borne by the capital provider. For Musyarakah, it will be jointly borne by all the shareholders.
Thank you for watching.